Hello students, today we are going to discuss about the categories of communication, part 1. So in the previous slides, we have studied that what is communication. So in brief, just we'll recall what the communication is and then we'll proceed further. So communication is a multi-dimensional interactive process of sharing sets of signs, symbols and language from one person to another so that a suitable response results. And then we have discussed about the categories of communication. So we have classified the category of communication on the three factors. The first one is the medium, and on basis of the medium we have verbal communication and non-verbal communication. On the basis of flow we have formal communication and informal communication. On the basis of audience we have general and technical communication. We'll study all these categories one by one in this session. So the first one is on the basis of medium, we have verbal and non-verbal communication. So when communication is classified into verbal and non-verbal communication, see in this diagram, you can see that the verbal is further classified into oral and written. So verbal is basically means where the words are involved, maybe in the writing form or in the oral form. It falls into the category of verbal communication. Whereas when we talk about non-verbal communication, it means wordless cues, where the words are not involved, but you give a certain cues like through your gesture, posture, your facial expressions, your eye contact. That falls into the category of your non-verbal communication. So non-verbal communication is further, we have subcategories. We have kinesics, proxemics, paralinguistics, chronomics, and haptics. We'll study it in detail. So verbal communication is where the words are used to share information. It can be in writing as well as in oral form. Whereas non-verbal communication basically helps in conveying message effectively with the help of non-verbal cues like tone, pause, and body signals. There should be compatibility between verbal and non-verbal cues. I would like to give you one example over here because it is really very important to understand the importance of non-verbal cues. Sometimes we know what kind of a message we have to convey, but our non-verbal cues do not match it. For example, you have to give a very sad news to someone. You are not happy, but the way you are expressing, but the non-verbal cues you are giving with the message may not be message. Like, see, oh, yeah, my grandfather has expired. So, what kind of an expression I'm giving you? Like, my tone is not matching, my non-verbal cues are not matching with the verbal. Why? Because I'm giving very sad news, but my tone is quite high. It means I'm excited that my grandfather has expired. No. So here the listener may get confused what kind of information you are getting. So we need to be very alert while giving the non-verbal cues. So there should be a proper compatibility between your verbal and non-verbal cues. Next is there are chances of establishing a wrong message if the signals and emotions, body language conveyed do not match a verbal message. This is what I have explained you in the previous example. Now, nonverbal communication, we have studied that the communication speaks louder than the words, where action speaks, where like action is more prominent over words. So, Peter F. Drucker, an Australian writer, he said, the more important thing in communication is to hear what isn't being said. You need to understand, apart from the words, what the person is trying to express through his non-verbal cues. According to the social anthropologist Edward T. Hall, in a normal conversation between two persons, less than 35% of the social meaning is actually transmitted by words. So you can say at least 65 of it is conveyed through body. That is your non-verbal channel. In non-verbal communication, we have kinesics, which means body language, and the body language we have facial expression, gesture, posture. Then we have proxemics, which means a space language, a space between the listener and the speaker. Then we have paralinguistics, which means a variation in pitch, speed, volume, pauses that conveys meaning. We have chronomics, which is related to time management. Let's study about the kinesics first. So kinesics is the study of the certain body movements and gestures to serve as a form of non-verbal communication, like eye contact. A person's eye reveals much about how they are feeling or what they are thinking. Eye contact communicates involvement and interest, manifests warmth, establishes connections with others, or but if you are staring someone, it means you are challenging someone. If you glance someone, it means that you are socially acceptable. Like frequently when you glance into someone's eyes or you look at someone, it means yes, it is socially acceptable. If appraisal, when you kind of give a kind of an appraisal intonation, which means you are indicating that you are interested in talking to someone. Then a facial expression is basically understanding a facial expression is to gather information about how the other person is feeling and guide your interaction accordingly. So facial expression shows how we feel. Here we have this, see, in facial expression, in the first one, you can see that the girl is looking happy. You can see the entire facial expressions, as well as you can see the eyes also, the how the eyes also, they are playing a very important role in conveying the emotions of this lady. So the first one is she is happy, then she is like, her mouth is wide and the eyes are wide open. Then she shows that she is surprised, and in the third you can see that she is sad. In the fourth one, she is angry, and the fifth one, she is feeling disgusted. And see how the eyes and the entire facial expressions expresses the emotions of a lady. So need to be very careful while talking to someone and while giving any kind of a non-verbal cues. Then is your gesture. Gesture of a person basically include attitude or movement of the body, usually hands or arms that have communicative value. For example, when a boy is sad, he may droop his head and walk slowly. He's sad, so his head is a little bit down and he is walking slowly. Whereas if someone is happy, he might run and wave his hand in the air. So these are the gestures. You can see the different kind of gestures this man is also having. You can see the person is excited and is ready to meet someone, or here the person is trying to give a direction or explaining something. Here the person is again excited and want explain something. Here the person is waving hand, is welcoming someone. So your the movement of your hands, your fingers, it basically helps in conveying an important message. Then comes your posture. Posture is like, in addition to facial expression, personal distance, gesture, and body movement, posture conveys information about interpersonal relations, your personality traits such as confidence, submissiveness, and openness. So basically, it tells you that whether you are a bold, confident, or dynamic person, or a timid, submissive, or a servile fellow. You have to use your posture and body movement to reflect your self-confidence, maturity, alertness. So we have to be very careful while we are taking any kind of a posture. Haptics is a language of touch. It refers to the ways in which people and animal, they communicate and interact via sense of touch. Touch is the most sophisticated and intimate of the six senses. When your mother, she pets you on your back, gives a kind of a confidence to you. Yes, your mother is showering her love on you. So that is basically a language. So touch can communicate power, empathy, understanding. Next is your paralinguistics. Paralinguistics are the aspects of spoken communication that do not involve words. These may add emphasis or shades of meaning to what people say. In this category, we have pitch, volume, rate, quality, intonation. Like, no presentation will make its maximum impact if delivered in a monotonous tone. So nuances of voice dynamics should be find time to breathe into like a presentation. Effective speaker needs no convincing other than his naturally correct pronunciation, right accent, proper variation in volume and pitch, and a well-regulated pace speech with necessary pauses. Voice modulation makes all the difference between a presentation and a mere reading or repeating of a pretext. Sometimes we use some extraneous sounds or words that interrupts the fluent speech like oh, these kind of sounds we use it. We need to avoid it. Example, why would you go to school when you could work and earn money? Now we know we should know the importance of pauses over here. If I say, why would you go to school when you could work and earn money? So when you speak the sentence in this form by taking a proper pauses, it helps in listener in understanding your idea. Now see again I'm saying the same sentence in different way. Why would you go to school when you would work and earn money? Again, why would you go to school when you could work and earn money? So, taking a proper pauses while speaking helps you in conveying your message more clearly and effectively. Next is your proxemics, that is the space around us can uh, be classified as, we can see from the example itself, like it's a space between a listener and the speaker. Here is your like when there is a the distance of 0 to 1.5 feet, it is your intimate space, and when the distance is like from 5 feet to 4 feet, it is your personal space. Then if it is like till 12 feet, it is your uh, social space, and if it is from 12 feet to 25 feet and then beyond it, then it is your public space. So we need to understand the space language also. We need to, when you are intimate, like you allow only your family members and near and dear ones to enter this space. No stranger can enter and disturb you in this particular place. So you need to follow this space language also. And when you are in a personal space, you are interacting with your friends. When you're social space, you are interacting with your colleagues. When you are in a public, you need to maintain the distance up to 25 or more than 25 feet or more than that. Now, chronomics is your time language. It is basically the study of how human beings communicate through the use of time. Thomas J. Bruno of Radford University coined the term chronomics to help define the function of time in human interaction, the way in which one perceives and values time, structures times, and reacts to time frames. Communication. See, we if I need to I would like to explain you the concept of chronomics through an example. For example, you are preparing your presentation and you have to deliver a presentation. So what you will do like you have to reach for the presentation on time. That is the first thing you need to keep in mind, and it is very discourteous to keep audience waiting. So the first thing is you have to respect time, that whatever the time is given to you, you have to reach on that particular time. During the presentation also, the speaker should not take a lot of time lest his speech becomes boring and tedious. Soon the listener lose their interest. As a speaker or a presenter, a person should try to sum up his presentation within the allotted time. The speaker should not encroach upon the time allotted to other speakers. So you need to rehearse and outline the presentation. This helps you in managing your time. We people, we try to attempt to control the time, and we try to use it more effectively, and that is more sensible because we need to know the importance of time. Like when you give an exam, you have only 3 hours to appear to write your examination. So the students, they very wisely use the time, the 3 hours time, to complete their question paper. Next is your cultural influences. So non-verbal signals vary from culture to culture. In the United States, it is a symbol for a good job. This particular symbol is a symbol of good job. In Germany, it means number 1. In Japan, it means number 5. In Malaysia, the thumb is used to point rather than a finger. In India, we use a finger, the index finger, to point out the things. But in Malaysia, they use finger to point out things. And Iran and Iraq, it is an insult. So we have to be very careful while using the uh, your non-verbal signals in any when you move to a different culture. Now we need to improve our non-verbal communication skills also. We know that these verbal communication and non-verbal communications cannot be separated. If you are speaking, with the speaking, the non-verbal cues automatically comes, but we need to practice so that we don't miscommunicate a non-verbal communication, non-verbal cues, and there should be a proper compatibility between your verbal and non-verbal cues. So when sending messages, you have to be very careful. You have to be cautious of non-verbal behavior. You have to be purposeful in using non-verbal cues. Make sure non-verbal cues are not distracting. Your non-verbal cues always match with the non-verbal communication. When receiving messages, don't automatically assume. Okay, don't automatically assume and consider gender, culture, and individual differences. Pay attention to all aspects of non-verbal communication. So you need to take care while sending a message. These are the things that you need to keep in mind, and while receiving a message, these are the points that you need to keep in mind, and that actually help you in improving your non-verbal skills, because practice makes man perfect. I hope you like the session. Happy learning.